All right, y'all, we are back with some more conspiracy theories and unexplained mysteries. Before we get to all the craziness, though, help me unplug some more people out of the Matrix, all right? And you do that by hitting the like button, then going to the comment section and putting hashtag unplug, all right? And if you're new, find that subscribe button and join the family, all right? That's it. Now let's get to the craziness.
Oh, it's a mystery.
Oh my.
And it's really terrorizing an Oklahoma City woman and her husband, keeping them up at night. Some kind of flying creature keeps banging on her back porch door.
She is at her wit's end and called News 4 to help. News 4's Caitlin Ogle saw the footage, and even the experts can't agree.
This is where all the sounds are coming from, and Carol has gone to great lengths to try and stop them. She's blocked off the glass.
She put the cushions in there.
Now the sounds are...
Yo, she put the cushions to block it too. I don't blame you. By any means necessary. Do what you gotta do.
She's blocked off the glass. It's helped a little bit, but now the sounds are even louder.
It's really frightening when you hear the bang.
Stopping this flying creature from hitting Carol Dillon's back door has become her obsession over the past month. It's tormenting her family at night, even with the lights out, and her changes to make the porch not so friendly to flying foes.
There's an owl there, and then here's Harry. He's supposed to be a scarecrow, but nobody's afraid of him. In the afternoon, I'll bomb the area to kill any insects.
But the creature just keeps at it.
I've seen enough of the videos to know, because of the scalloped wings, you know, that's a bat.
We asked Micah Holmes at the State Wildlife Department. It's hard to tell, but he believes it's a moth. They can grow up to 7 inches long.
And this is a good year for moths because it's been pretty wet for the summer. This is the time of the year they're out and trying to mate.
Off camera, we also reached out to an Oklahoma State...
Wait a minute. So there's moths out there that look like they're on steroids? That's what y'all telling me right now?
University insect diagnostician Alex Harmon. He says bats use echolocation and wouldn't be flying into the glass. Harmon leaning towards a Luna, Sphinx, or Polyphemus moth. He says they're big enough to produce those loud thuds. He says although Carol's lights are off, the moth may be attracted to that tiny light on Carol's camera.
But how a moth is surviving all the bug spray.
Meanwhile, Carol just wants to close off her porch.
We have a guy coming Friday morning to give us an estimate, and next Monday we have another guy coming for another estimate.
In Oklahoma City, Caitlin Ogle, Oklahoma's News 4.
We also reached out to Wild Care and Noble, and they say they need better footage to say for certain what this is.
Now, Jolene grew up here in Oklahoma, kind of a rural setting. Mike and I have spent plenty of time out in the country here in Oklahoma. What do you think it is, Mike?
I think I've seen a lot of great news stories already, even though it's Wednesday, only midweek. I think this might be one of them, maybe tops.
That's crazy.
And I think that moth's wearing a helmet.
So you think it's a moth?
It also could be you, Kevin Ogle, for that 12:30 a.m.
Moth gonna have CTE.
cereal snack getting
boy.
in the refrigerator.
Here we go. I gotta.
Here we go.
You were gone. Now he's got to tease you.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm a lot louder than that.
That's a great big moth with a helmet.
You wake up and can't recognize your room. That's definitely it, but your desk is on the wall, and the dresser is on the ceiling. It's closed, but you can somehow see every folded t-shirt in it. You wipe your eyes. Nothing changes. This isn't a dream. Welcome to the fourth dimensional world. Wait, rewind. To understand the fourth dimensional world, we need to look at the others. So a zero-dimension world is just a point. Now, if you expand it, you get a one-dimensional world that's a simple line. It only has one measure, and that's length. The creatures living in this world can only move in one direction, either left or right. In general, a dimension is a direction in which an object can move. So now we'll add another line perpendicular to the one we have. We get a flat surface with a length and width, like a piece of paper. The flat creatures that live in a 2D world can move left and right, and now forward and backward. To turn this flat paper world into one we're more familiar with, we draw parallel lines from each corner of the square. Now we get height, the third dimension. The objects of this world have three measures: length, width, and height. They can move in 3 dimensions: left and right, back and forth, up and down. That's the world we live in. But now we need to figure out where to put the next perpendicular line to get a 4th dimension. It's no easy task, because this 4th dimension, as well as the 5th and 12th ones scientific theories say could exist, are hidden from us because of the limitations of our perception. While we were going through the first 3 dimensions, we could see that with every next dimension, we expand the possibilities. The objects become more complicated. As inhabitants of a 3D space, we can easily imagine what 1D and 2D worlds are like because they're part of our own. But for residents of those worlds, it's not that easy to understand ours because they're just not able to perceive it. Why? Imagine you're one of these 2D flatlanders and you're living your simple flat life. If a sphere, a 3D object, somehow appears in your world, the only thing you'll be able to see is a dot that appears out of nowhere and then grows into a longer and longer line and then shrinks back down into a dot before disappearing. A flatlander could combine all these lines to get a circle, or if he could look at it from above, he can't, that would involve height. It would just be a dot growing into a larger and larger circle and then getting smaller. Either way, our flatlander ends up looking at a flat circle, not a sphere. That's exactly what will happen to us if we try to understand a 4D object. We'll see it like a 3D object, appearing, somehow changing, and then disappearing. We wouldn't be able to make sense out of it. For example, let's take a 4D hypersphere and put it in our world. Here's what you'll see. Looks like a regular old sphere appearing, growing, shrinking, and disappearing. Good luck trying to combine the spheres all together to make sense out of its 4D shape. Okay, let's try it with something a little easier. Remember, 1D is a line, 2D is then a square, and 3D adds more perpendicular lines to get a cube. To get a 4D cube, called a tesseract, we connect 2 cubes. We know that every side of a 3D cube is a square. In a tesseract, every side of it is a cube. This shape looks really confusing, especially if we realize that it's a 3D projection of a 4D object on your 2D screen.
My bad. As soon as he said Tesseract, I just blinked to the Avengers movie. My fault, y'all.
Just like the Flatlanders, we're unable to fully understand what a higher dimensional world is like. Even scientists have a vague and limited perception about it. They mostly describe it in complex mathematical equations, not physical objects. But think about it this way. Technically, every single day, 4D or even 10D beings could enter our world, and we wouldn't even know it. Now, if the first, second, and third dimensions are...
Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I'm gonna play it again. Let that sink in.
Technically, every single day, 4D or even 10D beings could enter our world, and we wouldn't even know it. Now, if the first, second, and third dimensions are length, left and right, breadth, back and forth, and height, up and down.
My question is, do you think other beings have figured that out? And maybe that's how things are among us and we don't know?
What does that make the fourth dimension? How about a real-world example? There are 2D ultrasounds that show a flat black and white image, mostly made up of outlines. Then there's 3D. It's basically like a normal photograph you'd see in an album. Things have a form, depth, shadows. Then there's 4D ultrasound. This is an image that's constantly being updated with time. The fourth dimension. Some call it strength, but it's basically space-time, in and out, and always. So you wake up in your room in a 4D world. The planet is a hypersphere. Everything around you is as if you lived in a sphere. Your wardrobe is still up on the ceiling, and you need to get dressed. Wait, where are you going? Stay right there. I know you still think the shortest way from A to B is a straight line, but you're in a 4D world now. The shortest way here is through. So just look through your wardrobe, find your favorite t-shirt and jeans, and grab them. That's better. Hey, your roommate is making coffee. Let's grab something to eat too. You could just teleport there, but let's take the long way. No, not the stairs, through the walls and floor. Doors and stairs will probably be non-existent in a 4D world. There's your roommate. Don't be confused, he's okay. Albert Einstein called the 4D universe a space-time world. Here, the past, present, and future all come together. So, like every other object, your friend exists in every moment of his entire life. I know what you're wondering. If you can move through walls, can you move through people too? Yeah, but please don't reach into his head and tickle his brain. That's taboo in this world. Even if it can be done, it shouldn't.
Hold on a second.
Here's another cool thing. You can see people's emotions. See the yellowish shadow around him? It means he isn't in a very good mood. But wait, mentally, you don't need words here. They're too slow. You can reach any person mentally within a moment, even if they're on the other side of the planet. Now, let's grab your sandwich, laptop, some work papers. Oh no, you don't need this bag. Forget it. You have pockets, right? Put it all there. You'll see it fits perfectly. There's endless space. Well, and no reason to take things with you when you can instantly teleport. Forgot your wallet? 1 second. Now you have it. Okay, you're a little late already. Work starts at 9 and your boss is going to be seething. But don't worry. Remember, you exist in any time, present, past, and future. Even though it's 9:12 already, just get there by 9. In fact, let's take a vacation day. Teleport to Rome. See all the sights as they were through all of time and history. Master the Italian language. Where to next? When to next? The choice is yours. You can always travel back and get to your job like a punctual hard worker. And still, life in a 4D world would probably be something entirely different than even my wild imagination can come up with.
So we could throw out the phrase "time waits for no man," right? We could throw that out the window.
Would probably be something entirely different than even my wild imagination can come up with. So, I'll let you finish this story down below.
What if the unimaginable becomes reality? What if the dark expanses of our solar system reveals something disturbing? NASA has recently discovered something in the solar system that pushes the boundaries of our understanding. Something uncanny that was previously hidden in the shadows. What could this mystery be? And what consequences might it have for us? Want to know why even Stephen Hawking believed our days are numbered? Then buckle up, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and stay tuned till the end. Surprising visit. What began as an acclaimed sensational discovery eventually evolved into one of the greatest mysteries of modern space exploration. But what had happened? Well, to understand this, we should first realize that in the astronomical world, literally no stone is left uncovered. Thus, the millions and millions of asteroids, comets, and meteoroids, which draw their orbits through our home system, always move into the focus of scientific interest. However, the object that was detected by the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii on October 19, 2017, should be very different from everything known, because its origin was not in our native solar system. So it happened that the celestial body christened Oumuamua advanced to the first known interstellar object that had plunged into our cosmic neighborhood. That the surprising visitor, apart from that still had some enormous riddles in the luggage, should become clear to the experts only a little later. At first, there was the less spectacular theory that we were dealing with an ordinary comet. The problem, the mysterious characteristics and the unique flight behavior of the Oumuamua, could not be arranged simply into a logical context. Flying mystery. Basically, if Oumuamua had been a comet, as initially assumed, it would have had a characteristic tail or a so-called comma. This is a shell-like structure, which is based on the interaction between the solar wind and the missile. However, a more exact analysis should bring none of these typical phenomena to light. Even more inexplicable, however, appeared the trajectory described by the interstellar visitor on its journey. When Oumuamua was discovered, however, it was already on its way back into interstellar space. It had already passed our blue planet 5 days earlier at a distance of 24 million kilometers. A few weeks earlier, on September 2, 2017, the structure had entered our home system almost perpendicular to the orbital planes of the planets. Reconstruction of the path revealed that Oumuamua's roots must lie somewhere in the constellation Lyra. 7 days after its entry into the solar system, the object came into close contact with our host star. It approached the Sun up to 37.6 million kilometers and then made a cosmic U-turn, which led it back into the gigantic expanse of space. However, the data analysis of different telescopes, among them also the famous Hubble telescope, revealed an inexplicable detail, which immediately put the astronomers into a mixture of fascination and perplexity. Apparently, Oumuamua had accelerated during its flight around the Sun. Astronomical dead ends. The unusual orbital deflection, in which the object flew somewhat faster than the mere influence of gravity would have allowed, soon fueled the most exciting hypotheses. At first, the experts tried to explain the phenomenon by the well-known means. According to them, the mysterious speed boost was due to the so-called outgassing of volatile components. In other words, the sun's rays heated up the spacecraft so much that various gases and dust were blown into space. But also, this theory should be accompanied by two not quite insignificant circumstances. On the one hand, not a single grain of dust could be detected in the immediate vicinity of the structure. And on the other hand, the outgassing is always accompanied by a drastic change in rotational behavior. As you could probably guess, there was no trace of this significant change in the case of Oumuamua. But apropos rotation behavior, in this category too, the interstellar visitor led everything known ad absurdum. Instead of rotating steadily around one of its main axes, the object literally lurches through space. The scientists came to this conclusion when they analyzed the no less mysterious brightness fluctuations of the body. Thus, its brightness is subject to periodic dips, which the researchers describe as exceptionally strong. Against this background, the assumption is obvious that we are dealing with a structure that has the shape of an oversized cigar. With regard to the exact dimensions, we can only speculate so far. These depend essentially on the exact rotation behavior and the reflexivity. But since we have too little data on this, experts have to fill in the gaps with estimated values. While some researchers believe that Oumuamua is about 160 meters long, others think a length of at least 800 meters is more likely. As briefly mentioned, the scientists were not supposed to detect any dust in the vicinity of the missile. Because of this, another stunning hypothesis quickly emerged. Possibly, Oumuamua consists almost completely of metal. If you take this exciting circumstance a bit further, you will sooner or later arrive at the hypothesis that sent the experts into a frenzy in November 2018. Probably we're dealing here with not a natural object, but with the work of an extraterrestrial civilization. The spaceship theory. Who believes now that this thesis originated in any half-serious forums cut himself. No, In truth, we have to owe this groundbreaking theory to a certain Avi Loeb, an Israeli-American astrophysicist who stands in the services of the renowned Harvard University. Together with his colleague Shmuel Bailey, Loeb came to the conclusion that Oumuamua had all the characteristics we would expect from artificial spacecraft. In detail, the puzzling orbital deviation and the lack of dust formation could be explained by the characteristics of an extremely thin solar sail. This, in turn, is an artificial structure driven by the radiation pressure of sunlight.
So if it is possibly a spaceship, what do y'all think it's doing? What is it doing? Like, we need to figure it out. If we haven't already sent some type of, and I know that's easier said than done. It takes money, time to develop, build, send out, measure and trajectory. All that type of stuff goes into play. You know what I mean? So don't think I'm not taking that into account when I'm saying we need to try to figure a way to send something out there. But that should be like the next step of us figuring out how to land something on it to be able to either get samples, to be able to roam around it, do different things, man, to figure out what it is.
While this idea is still in its conceptual infancy in our terrestrial reality, Loeb says it is conceivable that it has been mastered by another species and elevated to a completely new level. Provided the estimated 0.3 to 0.9 millimeter thin solar sail has a very large surface area in the same breath, it could not have been forced off its prescribed route by the sun's radiation pressure during its journey. Criticism and doubts. But what does the rest of the scientific community actually say to these revolutionary thoughts? Well, the majority of the remaining scientists insist on the fact that the characteristics of Oumuamua could be explained also with the characteristics of natural formations. So, among other things, the assumption stands in the room that the interstellar visitor embodies the fragment of a Pluto-like exoplanet which consists of frozen nitrogen. But because the outer layers melt away during the space journey, it had taken on a flat, cigar-like shape over time. And yet, the research series, which was completed back in December 2017 at the Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia, shows that the spaceship theory was by no means dismissed as far-fetched from the start. At that time, the radio telescope let its technical eye roam Oumuamua, looking for signals that might be artificial in origin. 4 observation blocks and 2 weeks later, however, came the big disillusionment. No evidence of artificially generated signals could be found. But is this finding also equivalent to the fact that Oumuamua is undoubtedly a natural object? What if the civilization that created the object is light years ahead of humanity? Yes, folks,
ain't no what if. They are if that's what it is, they are light years ahead of us.
Light year is a measure of length. Sit back.
Ain't no what if.
If the intelligent species makes use of ways and means which are completely unknown to us at present and consequently cannot be detected by our terrestrial instruments, after all, the extraterrestrial people would have accomplished something of which we can only dream about at present. It would have brought the dream of interstellar travel into reality. In this regard, some people point out that we should definitely revise our human self-image. Put into a cosmic context, the aliens would be something like experienced university professors, while mankind resembles a baby that has just learned to crawl.
And see, that's the very reason why they're saying that we have UFOs, UFPs, or whatever in places like Area 51 or wherever they have them now, studying them, trying to figure out their technology, seeing if we can recreate it, seeing if we can utilize it and discover what they're using and use for ourselves. Because if they're able to do interstellar travel and cut down all that time, they're way ahead of us.
The way to destruction. If and when the mystery of Oumuamua will be unequivocally solved is still literally written in the stars at the moment. Since the ominous something is currently moving away from us at a breakneck speed of 26.3 kilometers per second, it seems unlikely for the time being to intercept the structure and study it at close range. However, experts are toying with the idea of ejecting a probe from the solar system by firing a solid fuel engine and taking up the cosmic chase. Even if this ambitious mission were to be launched one day, it would take another 17 years before the probe reached Oumuamua. Let's assume at this point that this really is the work of an extraterrestrial species. Against this background, the researchers assume 36 intelligent civilizations alone in our Milky Way, this theory does not seem so far-fetched. But would it all be advisable in this case to chase Oumuamua and to reveal thus also our own existence? Well, if it goes after the opinion of experts like Stephen Hawking, the answer to this question can only be no, under no circumstances.
Why?
But what is it about the urgent warning that the genius, who died in 2018, gave us? After all, the question of whether we are alone in the universe is one of the oldest and most fascinating in human history. In any case, we cannot be accused of a lack of commitment in this regard. For example, we already have sent the Pioneer plaques and the Voyager Golden Records into space to give the extraterrestrial finders basic information about our species and our home planet. But according to Hawking, this is a catastrophic mistake.
Oh yeah.
What was intended on our part as peaceful contact attempt could become the disastrous boomerang which ends the extinction of mankind forever.
That I agree
After
with.
all, we cannot know at all who gets to see the appropriate information. If it concerns an aggressive civilization, it would be easy for them to uncover our weak points and to prepare a large-scale invasion attack. In this respect, Hawking referred to the fact that we ourselves are our best deterrent example. Just remember what happened to the Native Americans after Christopher Columbus discovered the so-called New World. Basically, we should do everything possible to remain unrecognized for as long as possible, and hope that our extraterrestrial neighbors do not have quite as many human traits in them as we do.